If you clicked on this because you'd like to adopt the job title of content creator, you're certainly not alone. I pulled up some stats. According to Entrepreneur magazine, 57% of Gen Z say that they'd like to become a social media influencer or content creator. About one third of Americans aged 18 through 30 want to become influencers. Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. Only a very small percentage of people are earning over $200,000 a year. And actually, one study found that nearly half of creators earn less than $15,000 annually, which is less than you would make working full time at a, very entry level starter type of job. So I don't want that to be you. If you are a content creator or you want to be a content creator, I want today's episode to help you create a roadmap for yourself to actually earn a living and not just do the job for fun, but actually do it for profit as well. So today I'm going to be covering all of the major revenue streams that content creators today are using, and hopefully it will help you devise a plan for yourself to decide which one or which ones are going to make most sense for you and your content. Let's hop in. So, first off, I want to talk about sponsorships. This is one of the most lucrative areas for content creators to make money, but it also can be a challenging one because sponsorship require an audience, right? So if you're just starting out as a content creator, this isn't something that I want you to hold your breath for lack of better words. It's something to strive for, it's something to work towards, but do not put all of your eggs in the sponsorship basket when you're first starting out, or frankly, at all. I actually will say I don't recommend putting all of your eggs in any of these baskets, even when you grow an audience, because things change a lot in this creator economy. Things have changed for me a lot year over year, month over month, quarter over quarter. And so it's always really important to have a couple of tactics, a couple of revenue streams to be able to sort of pull out of your pocket, if you will, when you need them. So, yeah, sponsorships are something that we are probably all quite familiar with, right? We've all watched a YouTube video, a podcast, seen an Instagram post where a creator is holding up a soft drink or doing an ad read for a tech company or wearing a piece of clothing, right? And tagging the brand and saying, thanks to the brand for sponsoring, right? So I want to explain how these work a little bit more in depth than I think I have in past episodes. If you're a returning listener or viewer, I want to first talk about why this is a thing for brands, because I think if you want to tap into this revenue stream, you've got to understand how it actually works from the brand side, from the side that's actually paying the money, right? So for brands, they obviously have large advertising budgets. If they're a Coca-Cola, a Nix Cosmetics, whatever, like a bigger company like that, they can just run ads on Facebook. They can run ads on television. That is not outside of their reach, right? Or outside of their budget. The reason that they choose to work with content creators or influencers is because content creators have relationships with their audiences. And so it's kind of like a little bit of a jump start for these brands, because think about it. Like, when's the last time you bought something from a TV commercial, a billboard, a cold ad on Facebook, Instagram? Sometimes, right? Sometimes I do. But even with the advertising thing, you'll notice a lot of times Meta ads, Facebook ads, whatever, they're being done influencer style. They are being recorded, handheld, cell phone videos. They're being recorded featuring talent that looks like you or I, right? That's not a supermodel or a famous actor as much. It happens, but we're seeing a lot more just like normal people. And that's actually going into a different term called user generated content. We'll probably get to that in a little bit. But anyway, the point is people resonate a lot deeper with just this more casual style of content, with more person to person type of contact, frankly. And we don't like being sold to, right? There's this term that's being thrown around called the trust recession. A lot of people are just more skeptical of brands than ever before. I think I would count myself into that. I really do a lot of research, do a lot of thinking before I purchase something. And so that is why they are hiring creators. I just think that's important to understand what we're bringing to the table is that we're bringing our audience, we're bringing our word of mouth, our opinions, our connections. We're not just an ad unit where they, place a bid and then their ad gets shown however many times. So it's important for the creator to know that because when you are negotiating, when you are ideating campaigns and they send you what we call a creative brief that kind of details, okay, we'd like you to talk about this lipstick, here are the 5 main selling points of it, here are the calls to action we need you to talk about. It's important that you bring in your unique spin and you keep your audience in mind when you're ideating these campaigns, because if you just read off a script and your audience is not used to you doing that, it's not going to perform well and the brand is not going to rehire you again. And even beyond that, even if you want to work with a different brand, you're not going to have a good case study to be able to say, hey, look at how many lipsticks I sold for NYX, right? Yeah. If you want to get brand sponsorships, first thing you need to do is, yes, build an audience because, again, you've got to recognize what they're getting access to. They're not just getting access to your creative, so the videos or the photos that you create. That's a different thing. Again, we'll talk about that in services. They're getting access to that and your relationship with your audience. So you do need an audience to actually sell this part. And you also need to know your audience. This is really, really, really important. I could have 2 million followers who are all different people, right? They're all different age groups. They're all over the world. They have really broad range of interests from tech to fashion to travel to, all kinds of things. That is not going to be as valuable to a brand as if I had 20,000 followers who were all based in Michigan and loved vegan food, right? If it's a vegan restaurant based in Michigan, which one are they going to choose? It's quality, or I would say resonance, right? Over reach. The person with 2 million followers has more reach. They can reach more people, but they're not going to resonate as deeply about one specific topic. So look at your analytics, look at your data, know your numbers, talk to your audience. These are all really powerful things that you'll be able to, again, kind of put in your back pocket and say, when I'm pitching myself to brands, I know what I'm pitching. I know that I'm pitching access to my audience, and this is exactly who these folks are. From there, you're going to want to develop some sales materials, right? A media kit is sort of like your content creator resume. It's basically a portfolio for brand deals that you've done in the past. As you're just starting out, you obviously won't have any to show. So just create some, right? This lipstick is just right here. If I love this lipstick, then I'll just start creating some content about it and really getting creative and trying to make things that are actually really good. If I can, something that you could do is actually create a tracking link. You could use a tool like Bitly or Metricool, or you could even sign up for affiliate links like through Amazon or magic links, things like that. So you could actually track the clicks that you get over to this lipstick. So you can start to build a little case study even before the brand has paid you. So those are things that you can do. And then I think the other thing is just making yourself available. So making sure that your email address is linked in your profiles, that, you're replying to your emails, that you are active in your community. Again, if you're a beauty YouTuber, that you are regularly trying out new products and tagging brands and, engaging with them and interacting with them on social media, because you never know when they're going to notice you and reach out to you. But there's also an outbound strategy, right? Inbound is great. They'll reach out to you, say, hey, are you interested in a collaboration? But there's also a lot of value in pitching and actually finding the influencer marketing managers, the marketing managers, the partnerships managers at companies that you love and sending them emails and sending them your media kit and saying, hey, I would love to connect. I would love to work together on campaigns. So that is sort of the long story short about brand deals, sponsorships, whatever it is you want to call them. Let me know if you'd like me to go more in depth on this. But That's kind of the gist of how they work. The next thing that I want to talk about is services, because we already kind of started leaning into that when we talked about user generated content. So, user generated content differs from sponsorships in that you are creating content for a brand, but they're not buying your influence. They're not buying access to your audience. They're just buying the content. They're buying your creative direction, your creativity, your unique lens, sure, but you're really more similar to talent, right? You're like a commercial actor being hired and a director and producer. Like I mentioned, brands nowadays recognize that people prefer content to be a little bit more natural and organic feeling. And so they've caught on to that and been like, oh, wow, our, $10,000 video with super high quality polished production isn't performing well as, the $5,000 ad campaign that was shot with iPhones. Yes, that's great news for a newer creator. If you are diving into this world and you're like, oh my gosh, I love creating, I maybe have spent a bunch of money on, I don't know, maybe you do camera reviews and you have all this gear that you love to shoot beautiful content of, you can make money from that, even if you're newer in your journey. This can be sold really similarly to sponsorships in that outbound pitching works perfectly. Create a portfolio for your work. Here's the thing though, you do have to be good. I know that sounds silly and obvious, but you do have to be good at storytelling, at production, at editing, making content that really does kind of stand out in the algorithm, stand out in feeds. I think as an influencer, you can kind of lean on your existing relationships as a crutch. And I'll say that, to be honest, about myself. Like I don't take a ton of creative risks necessarily. I mean, I try to keep up, but a lot of what I am selling is this existing relationship. I don't have to necessarily be on every single TikTok trend or whatever editing trend, because I already have this like foundational community built up. User generated content, again, you're not having that, right? So you've got to actually probably be a better editor, a better producer than me, who's selling influence and access, right? But that's not the only type of service that you can do. I got started doing freelance social media management. I started my YouTube channel, back in like 2013, I think, and very quickly realized that a lot of brands were interested in what I had to say, were interested in my knowledge of how the internet worked, and they wanted to pay me to create their social media strategies for them. So I've got a ton of videos on this channel about social media management if that's something that you're interested in learning how to do. But yeah, I think it's one that can be a great bridge into full-time content creation, or just a great supplement to your income. Like you can earn contracts up to $2,500, $3,500, $5,000, depending what it is exactly that you're offering and that you're doing for people. I mean, that's really nice. That's a really nice sort of safety net as you're focusing on building your own content, building your own relationships with brands. It's you can be making basically a salary as a freelance social media manager while still having a little bit more time to work on your own stuff and building your own portfolio and testing out your skills as well. So that's something that you can do. And then you could also do like coaching. It depends on what you do, but let's just say that you're a lifestyle creator and you talk a lot about life's transitions. Maybe you are like talk about relationships and dating and things like that. Well, you could absolutely, I guess if you are good at it, you want to be realistic with yourself, right? About your credentials and your your comfort level and all of that. But you could definitely offer one-on-one consulting sessions or do like a group program where you do a challenge to help each other make over your dating profiles or, get more comfortable, do challenges to get out there into the world and start meeting people. Again, for somebody like me who is more of a marketing and entrepreneurship creator, that's something that I offer is one-on-one coaching. I also have an app where I help people, which is going a little bit into the next category we'll talk about in a second. But yeah, there's lots of different ways that you can serve your audience. Now, again, that if you're getting more into the education space or the mentorship space through coaching or consulting, Again, that does sort of require an audience, right? That's not something that you can kind of just like start selling, on day one. Now, you don't need a huge audience to sell services. Honestly, I have been making a full time income as a YouTuber way before my YouTube checks ever amounted to much, way before my sponsorships ever amounted to much. So don't let anyone tell you that you need a million subscribers to become a coach or to, mentor people or whatever, because it's really more about, again, knowing your audience and having that right audience fit. If you've got 500 people watching your video and they are in your ideal client base, you only need to convert maybe one or two of those people a month to make a full-time income. So keep that in mind. But I will say, of course, it is easier. Your conversion rates are only going to go up as your audience grows. So if you are brand new, maybe you're not super confident in your niche, in your skill set, in your area of expertise, or maybe, it just doesn't make sense because yeah, for some niches, it doesn't really make as much sense. Maybe if you're more of an entertainment creator, a lifestyle vlogger, things like that, even like a beauty creator, there are services that you could probably sell from, I don't know, custom makeup, shopping lists or what do you call it? Color, what is it called? Not color theory, color analysis, things like that. But they're pretty far and few between, right? So if that's the case and you want to make a little bit of extra cash, maybe look at user generated content or social media management instead. Okay, and then I briefly talked about my app. So I do have an app, by the way, and if you're watching this and you're thinking, "Oh my gosh, like I want to get started making a full-time income," then check out the Creator Trifecta Academy. I'll leave it linked down below. It's basically meant to help you wherever you are in your creator journey, whether maybe you're a social media manager and you're like, hold on, I want to start getting some brand deals. I want to start documenting my life as a social media manager. Maybe you are a lifestyle creator and you're trying to figure out how to get your views up, how to get monetized, how to get sponsorships, whatever the case may be. It meets you where you are. It's fully customized to what you need in your journey. So check it out. I'll leave it down below. It gives you a series of daily lessons. They're interactive. So sometimes I'll ask you to record a voice note and send it back to me so that you can talk about your business plan. Other days, you'll be asked to watch a video or read some short text or listen to some audio. So again, nobody's journeys are exactly the same. And so this app is really customized to you and helping you earn a full-time living as a creative. That's really my goal, is to help you with that. So yes, an app is a great example of a digital product. It's something that I sell to people on the internet. There is no fulfillment, like there's no packaging of orders, there's no, sending of things. It's all delivered digitally, right? The app is a new thing for me. I'm just a baby when it comes to selling the app. So far, I've gotten really great feedback about it. But really, where the majority of my digital product income has come from has been courses historically. So I have made over $1 million in online course sales, which is pretty crazy to say. There is definitely a lot of opportunity out there, and very similar to coaching. It's like, think about first of all, what your audience comes to you for. My first course I created because my audience was just asking me so many questions about freelance social media management. And they were like questions that didn't necessarily make sense for a YouTube video. It was like, can you do this boring screen share of like Meta Business Suite, And I mean, I know there are videos out there that, on YouTube that talk about that. But for me and my content style, it just didn't feel right. It felt like a little dry and technical. And also they were things that, I don't know, they just needed to be taught in a different way than just a video. I was like, okay, there are certain topics that I need to add a written lesson to, or add a quiz about to make sure people are retaining knowledge and all of that stuff. So I created my first course. I think I priced it at like $50, something like that. I got one pre-order. I remember I put it live on Black Friday. This was like 2016, 17, something like that. And it was a very, very, very slow road. Things really changed when I released the Social Media Management Toolbox, which was a series of templates, actually. So a little bit different than like your typical online course. It was a bunch of templates that I used in my actual business. And yeah, I just made them editable for people in Google Docs, in Canva, and then later I released a Notion edition. And so it was a little bit more interactive. That's where I hit my first $10,000 a month and beyond. And yeah, just things really, really changed for me at that point. And so if I had to give any advice about online courses today to you, it's to make sure that there is like an interactive component to them. Give them something that they can use, that they can actually apply to their businesses or to whatever it is that you help them with. The toolbox I think really worked because it was like you buy this, you download this, and you start, you can start making money with it. Like you can start creating your prospecting sheet. You can start building a social media report for your client. You can build your social media management portfolio and start pitching to clients right away. It's not just a theory-based course where you sit and you learn and you practice and you learn and you read and you listen and you watch. And it's like, okay, like what is this? Where is the return on investment? So I do think people realize that they can get most things on YouTube, right? You can get most social media marketing theory or strategy on YouTube, right? Which is great. You can get it on my channel. But when they're paying for something, they want it to be more of a service and more of something that they can actually like hit the ground running with. So keep that in mind if you're building a course, template. I think memberships are really great. I have notoriously failed at all of my memberships. I just don't think I'm made for them. I wish I was. I think maybe someday I'll try again with a like a community manager. But for me, it's just there's just something about it that's really hard for me. But I have friends who are very successful with them. And I think they work well because you get to do challenges, right? Every single month there's a new challenge. There is that interactivity with the creator, with the person who's leading the membership. It's not just kind of like, hey, buy this and then I'll see you never. So yeah, I think, that's digital products in a nutshell. Again, let me know if you want me to go deeper on any of those because there's so much I could probably say about each of those categories. I think all of them, I would say, digital products for the most part, it really helps if you have an audience. It's very hard to sell a course to 5 people. And conversion rates, I would say for courses are going to be probably I guess it depends, but maybe even lower than like a service because they usually are a little bit more hands off, maybe viewed a little bit more as a luxury. So like I said, I didn't really start selling courses in a very meaningful way until I think I probably had around 70,000 subscribers or something when I released the toolbox. Now you don't need to wait until you have that much of an audience, right? You could sell a successful course with 10,000, 5,000. But again, that niche audience is really important. Again, 10,000 people who all like the same thing, who all know why they're there, who all watch videos every single week about a very similar topic. Great. Versus a million people who are like all over the place. Absolutely. Okay, I want to talk really quickly about affiliate income. I think a lot of people sleep on affiliate income, and it's basically like I think of it as almost like free money, truly. Affiliate income, how it works is as opposed to a sponsorship where a brand is paying you upfront, they're saying, hey, Latasha, again, I'm just using this lipstick, it's right here. Nyx might say, hey, Latasha, could we pay you $500 to feature our newest lipstick in your video? And they're just going to give me that money. I'm going to do the deliverable. I'm going to send them the link and they're going to pay me regardless of how many people click on it, buy it, anything, right? With affiliate income, they would give me an affiliate link. So it's a tracking link that shows how many people click, how many people purchase from my link. And then they're going to give me a percentage of the sale. So that if this is $10, typical affiliate incomes, or rates rather, like they can really vary, but usually they're going to be something like 10%. Actually 10% is usually pretty high. It might be more like 5%. So I don't even know the math on that, but it's like pennies, right? It's like such a small amount for a small product like that. Now, here's the thing though. What about a big product? What about this $200 microphone? What about this, I've got a $2,000, $1,000, $2,000 camera, something like that. Even this camera I'm recording on right now is like $500, $800. I don't know how much, but right, like there are higher ticket items. And then also depending on your niche, there may be services or products that are higher ticket and or just pay more because they have a lifetime value type of model. So for instance, I work with a lot of tech brands and software. So, software can actually be extremely lucrative because these SaaS companies, if they charge a client, let's say $50 a month, well, that's not just $50 one time. Like the lifetime value of that customer could be really, really high. They could make thousands of dollars based on that one customer if they stick around. And they have ways to track and understand and project what the likelihood of people staying and what value that ultimately has, right? So I make a lot of money. I wouldn't say a lot, but I make, a decent chunk of my income from affiliate income and specifically from SaaS tools, from software that has that subscription model. A lot of my favorite SaaS companies or software companies, they give affiliate bonuses up to $100, $200, 50% of subscriptions, that kind of thing. It's not like a 2% of a lipstick, right? So that stuff really adds up. So all that to say, I think don't sleep on affiliate income. And the reason I said it's like free money basically is because if I'm already going to talk about this lipstick, if I'm already going to talk about this microphone, I mean, heck, the microphone is in my videos every single day and it's got the logo right there. Like they really did something with that. They really are getting a lot of free advertisement from creators, right? You might as well make a little bit of money off of it and put the affiliate link in the description box. Or again, if I'm naturally going to recommend something, might as well make it an affiliate link and earn a little bit of a kickback on it. It doesn't cost my audience anything extra. It's just free money, as I like to say. And then the other cool thing about this is most affiliate programs don't really require you to have a certain audience size before you can start earning. So you can just be Joe Schmo with a new YouTube channel. And in most cases, like for most affiliate programs, you'll get accepted. And some of them require you to maintain a certain click rate to make sure that you're actually using it and that people are actually, buying. But you can start earning money if you're just anybody, right? So I think that's really cool in that you don't need to be this huge creator to start earning money from brands. And then what's also great about that is you can now use your affiliate income as a case study for when you are pitching to sponsorships. And you can say, hey, I love this microphone. I have sold 100 of these microphones through affiliate links over the past 6 months. You're a camera brand or you're a mixer company or something in the same category, or maybe this microphone brand itself. You say, hey, people really love this. I would love to pitch like a creative idea that I had and get some funding for it. So it can be a great way to start developing case studies, if you will. And then lastly, I want to talk about ad revenue. So this is what you see, you get the ad, you click skip, you maybe have to click skip another time. That's what happens, at least on YouTube. Now, every platform has its own version for the most part. YouTube, for me, pays the highest, although I've got to say Spotify is really creeping up. I never used to post my videos on Spotify because I was like, oh, I want people to go to YouTube so that I can get ad revenue. But Spotify is getting much better, much better. So, that's something to think about if you're a podcaster or just, I think they're really trying to like make themselves kind of like a competitor to YouTube in general. I don't even think you necessarily have to be like a podcaster to be on there. You can just be like a video creator. And there's some opportunity there. So here's the thing. It's great to have like to make some extra coin, but it is really challenging if you're following all of the rest of my advice in this video. Because really ad revenue is great for mass appeal creators. It's great if you're getting a lot of views. In other words, if you are making, videos and getting hundreds of thousands of views on them, yeah, you can definitely like sustain yourself. Probably, I don't know. Comment down below, I guess, if you're in that camp and you have any insight to share, because I don't have that experience. You can probably make a full-time living just from ad revenue. For those of us who are building these niche communities around particular topics, it's a lot harder because there's only so many people in this world who are interested in being a content creator. I mean, I guess as my data showed me, there's a lot of people. So there is a, growing, like the ceiling is getting raised, I guess, for lack of better words. But especially if you do something even more niche, like, I don't know, knitting, right? If you're a knitting creator, more power to you. I love that for you. You can make money from guides, from templates, from video tutorials, from coaching, from courses, from knitting products for people, right? There are so many revenue streams out there for you. Ad revenue might not be one that's going to be a big piece of that just because like I don't know how many people are looking for knitting. Maybe there's more than I really think of. Maybe that was a bad example. I don't know, but you understand where I'm going with that. So I always recommend treat it as something nice. Try to increase it, right? There are certain things that you can do, especially when we think about YouTube, where it's like, being brand safe is one of them. If you ever notice, if you ever watch any of my more like casual vlog videos, if I ever do make a little swear, I'm a full adult grown woman, right? But if I ever make a little swear, I will silence that part of the clip. I'll like bleep it out. Those are things that you want to be mindful of, right? It's not to say you can't swear and get monetized. You absolutely can, but I just try to like make myself as brand safe so that brands don't pull their ads from my videos and, result in lower ad revenue. What else can you do? Obviously, like making appropriate content overall. There are certain categories of content that just cannot be monetized, any type of adult themes, that kind of thing. And then yeah, just like looking at your analytics and making videos that people are watching. So you can actually in YouTube, in their analytics, you can actually sort by ad revenue or CPM, cost per mil. That's basically cost per 1,000 views. That's what brands are willing to pay for your content. A little humbling to see sometimes what that number is, but you can sort your videos to see what types of videos brands are willing to pay most for. And then you can say, okay, I should make more of those. Like for me, it's usually tech tutorials. And I think that's because brands want to all compete to like, be an ad on a software video, right? And so, yeah, that's a high CPM category for me. So realistically, I should be telling myself I should be making at least 2 tech software videos a month or something like that. Do I follow that advice? Not always, but I probably should, right? And so that's something that you can think about doing. But yeah, overall, it's not enough for most people, for most niche creators. And especially if you're on some of the other platforms like TikTok or short form platforms, for me, most of my ad revenue has come from YouTube and podcasting. So yeah, there's that. So me personally, where am I making the most money? This year, it's been brand deals. This year, I would say like 90% of my revenue has come from brand deals, actually, which is new. Like brand deals outpaced every other ad category for me, or revenue category for me in the past 2 years. Prior to that, it was online courses. Prior to that, it was services. So you see how it changed. And what changed is like my audience grew, right? I also think that my goals changed. I loved teaching courses and I still have courses available. I still have my app available. That's a new thing for me and something that I'm really loving the response to. But brand deals for me just feel a little bit, they feel more natural and they actually challenge me creatively because, after being on YouTube for over 10 years, sometimes I run out of ideas. I'm like, okay, I've already talked about this and this and this. And so if I get a brand deal saying, hey, we'd like you to talk about creator finances or social media scheduling or whatever, or analytics, like it gives me new content ideas. So I've really been enjoying working with brands. And yes, because my audience has grown, because my experience as a creator has grown, I've been able to command a living wage, ask a living wage from those brand partners where I just couldn't when I had 10,000 followers and was getting like $500 max, for an ad read. So within that, I would say the majority of those brand deals are YouTube specific, although I will say more and more I'm getting paid for short form vertical video content. And one of the things that really has helped me ask a higher rate for those is by adding in usage rights. So this is something that, again, we can get into maybe in a part 2 of this. let me know if you would like to learn more. But basically, as opposed to just paying for access to my audience, right? We talked about that. They're also paying for that UGC component, basically, is what usage rights say is you also can have this video file and you can run this as an ad or post it organically to your own audience for a limited period of time. Usually it's 12 months or 6 months. That will really help you beef up your contracts if you're doing short form, especially. It can take a $2,500, brand deal up to $5,000 or $7,500 easily. So, yeah, that's the majority. And then the rest of my revenue streams these days are mostly courses, the app, and then some services. I have a studio space. So people come in and book that. They can book time to record their podcast, or they can book me to actually have them, have me record for them. I also do some social media strategy and consulting. I haven't been doing much coaching lately because I'm actually in school. If you're new here, hi, I'm Latasha. By the way, I should have said this at the beginning, but yeah, I am in grad school right now studying psychology. So just been taking a little bit of a pause from one-on-one work. But yeah, that's what I think. I think big opportunity areas for creators. I would say I think apps are big. Apps and like SaaS, like software. There's going to be more of that, especially with AI, growing and changing the world so much. I think there is a lot of opportunity for creators to kind of tap into that space. So that's something if you've got a good idea and you want to mix it up. Because again, I think people are a little bored of like, here's this boring course with boring slides. Like, mix it up. Again, you can definitely make money from courses, but you've got to make sure that it is a little bit more interesting. Okay. A little bit more interesting than just slides, boring, voiceover, cue Charlie Brown, teacher voice, right? And then I also think there are a lot of opportunities with brands too. I think that's going to be an evergreen kind of revenue stream. I think I don't see, I know people talk about like AI influencers getting brand deals and all these things. I don't know, man. I just, again, it's relationships. That it's about relationships. It's about building relationships, selling access to relationships. I know that sounds a little creepy, but that doesn't get replaced by a robot. That doesn't go away. Even if we think about like the celebrity endorsement, which is kind of like the celebrity equivalent. Yes, it's changed. No, we don't see as many of them these days, but they still are a thing, right? Look at like ads during the big game, the big football game, I mean, you see like every pop star being paid to promote like Doritos or whatever. And it's like that type of marketing still does work, even if it's like cringy or weird. It has worked since like the, early days of Hollywood and still works now in this new creator economy. So I think those are where the biggest opportunities are that I see. Let me know what you think and let me know if you have any questions or anything you'd like me to go deeper on as well in a future video. Please be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, subscribe to the podcast. It's called Freelance Friday. You can find it on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube, of course. And yeah, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Thanks for tuning in. I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.